Hey everyone, this is Field Marshal Blamey. This video about dating. I'm making this for a mate of mine, Lynchys. He's a mate from high school, so this one's for you, mate. Sorry it took me so long. I was gonna tell you some bullshit like, I've been preparing, but no, this is just a rant. Haven't done it. Come on, Lynch, you know I'm a lazy cunt. So what Lynch basically wants me to look at is my understanding of women, what I find attractive in them, what they look for in a partner, and what I think they should look for in a partner. Now, you can tell me if my ideas are rubbish. You can tell me to fuck off. You can tell me I'm a silly cunt. No, telling me a silly cunt would imply that we're friends, so don't call me a cunt. Call me a silly mate. Because we all know in Australia, it's the one country where people you have no idea who they are your best mates, and your best mates are cunt. Okay, so first we'll start off with my basic understanding of women. I don't have an understanding. Women, men are visual creatures. We look for things. For instance, we look fit, attractive women. Find that more comparable to us. Women are more emotional creatures. Women are driven more by emotion. For instance, you'll have women you often find that they want more time with the man that they're dating, which, honestly, for me, if I'm dating a woman, I will want to spend as much time as her as possible because, well, obviously I like her. Do I need more of a reason than that? My understanding of women is that they are far more emotional creatures, work off emotional gratification, where men, we are more visual creatures and strength-based bonding type creatures. You often see this, I've seen it before in the world, where women have, they'll meet someone that they, even with friends, they often meet people and they get along together really well and they'll know each other for a couple of years, but then there'll be a big blowout over the tiniest thing, and that's at the end of the friendship, where men, we can go for years without seeing each other and we can fall in last time we saw each other was yesterday. As I said, women are more emotional creatures who want to be there more, where men, we're more physical, more straightforward, more earning type creatures. You'll often see that men, we actually have to prove ourselves to each other, where women, they just meet and don't really have that. This is all my opinion. It changes from person to person. This is just what I've seen, okay? So, like I said before, tell me to fuck off if you think I'm wrong. Right, so now where was I? Right, as I said, this is sort of a rant, so I'm not all that prepared. What do I find attractive in a woman? Right. In my opinion, what makes a woman attractive is an ability to think for herself. I see a lot of women these days, particularly in universities, who think as a collective. They think more for the group. This is some sort of scary version of 1984, which is a terrifying book. I suggest anyone who's listening to this read it or get an audio version. It is beautiful. I listened to the version with Christopher Eccleston. It's a brilliant book. I absolutely loved it. Scared me to the bone in the first 5 minutes. But I like a woman who can look at the facts objectively and make their opinion on that and doesn't work on pure emotion. This, I find, is not in a whole bunch of women. And what women might not understand is that us guys, there's a difference between beauty and, for me, attractive/hot. For me, a woman can be absolutely beautiful, but as soon as you can speak to her, she can be an absolute bitch, and she is no longer hot. For me, a woman being hot is a subjective thing. What I think will not portray to the next man. You might like a bitch, you might be beta, like Steve Shives. We've all seen that video, Stevie. We all know that when it comes to you and your wife, you're a bitch, and I suggest you hand in your cock and balls. For me, what I find attractive is someone who's confident in their own skin, doesn't make apologies for who they are, avoid them being an absolute cunt, then they're absolute cunt, and I don't find them attractive and I don't want anything to do with them. Basically, don't accept other people's rules as the way to go unless they conform with their own ideas. So basically what I find attractive is a woman who can think for herself, is confident, and doesn't make apologies for being her own person, unless she's a cunt. And I don't mean the good cunt. Now, what do I think women look for? We often see this whole idea of the woman going after the arsehole, which I do think to a certain point is true. Women do sometimes tend to go after the arsehole. Now, this goes back to our animal instincts. In the ancient world, there were two sets of people when we're still monkeys. You had hunters and gatherers. The men would often go out and do the hunting, and women would stay home and do the safer job of gathering. For twofold. The first is us being a sexually dimorphic species, and the second part comes into the fact that we are sexually dimorphic. The men, on average, wear bigger and stronger and faster than women. You often see that to reach a man's natural strength, a woman has to exercise a lot more than a man does. So women are not as good for hunting naturally as men. Now, this is not completely true for every single man and every single woman. However, on average, it is true. Not 100% completely, but about 98% of the time. The second fold is why we're a successful species. The reason the men went out and did the dangerous work, for instance, doing the hunting or working in the factories in later life, is the fact that women need to be protected more for the survival of the species. This is why I believe now, even with dating, women are far more selective than men. What has this got to do with dating and what men and women look for in each other? Everything. What we see is women still go after men who can protect them. We often see the image of the asshole man with his wife or girlfriend, and this comes down to protection. This man is an asshole, can protect me more than this nice guy. Now, I believe it is flawed, but it does have its merits. For instance, who's going to protect you more? This big tough asshole or this little bitchy kid? Honestly, if I was a chick, I would be going for the big tough asshole. Just my personal opinion. Doesn't mean anything, but that's why we often see it. And I'm talking as a guy who's not that big and not that muscular, so that sucks for me. But I'm giving the honest truth here. So what women will look for men from our primitive days is strength. So women have to be far more selective with breeding because it can be quite dangerous for them up until the advent of modern science. Now we have abortions, medicine, life support systems, yada yada yada, so it's not as dangerous. But women are still very selective. You'll see a man, he will go off with someone who people may think is below his standard. Like, they'll be thinking, oh, he's a 10, why is he going out with her? Men, historically, we've not had to be that choosy. Sounds like making an ad. We've not had to be as choosy as it's not been a risk for us. We have sex with them, we pay the rents, and that's our job done. And raising the boys to be like us, strong, intelligent, can do a shit work, and the cycle continues. Women, birth has been life-threatening for the longest time. Now we've gotten to a point where it's not life-threatening, but women have still held that primitive idea, and men have done the same thing. You often see the idea of the player when that comes back all the times when men have had to spread themselves across hundreds of people to make sure that we can get through. And from that, we've had to prove ourselves. And this is not just in the human species. We see this particularly well with birds. And to anyone who's listening, England, I mean actual birds. You often see that the male birds have got more beautiful feathers on their bodies. For instance, a good example is the peacock. It has a bigger plume than its females, and the one who has the biggest plume often get more women. This also goes back to us. For instance, you'll see there'll be women like men who are big and strong because they can protect her. Now, this goes back to our ancient days. Like I've said, we don't live there anymore. However, we do still carry traits, and those traits have made us the most successful species on the planet. Now, what do I think women should be looking for in men? I have no idea. Sorry to say this, guys, but I have no idea. In my opinion of what would make more sense, I'll be looking for someone who is the most stable. For instance, has a good job, continues to bring in money, has a certain amount of surety and that their work is going to be there. That's what I would be looking for. But hey, this is just my opinion, and that's about it. This is General Blamey signing off. I hope this answered your question, Lynchy. If it didn't, like I said before, I said to you, I'd be happy to do this in like a live stream where you can ask your questions to me directly. See ya.